Last time on the World of MX Simulator.
So Kellen, we hang out quite a bit. Awesome dude. I get along with him great. Never had a fight with him, anything like that.
So on Saturday we went riding at Paula. The best part about it was I got to go ride with my pretty good friend Brian. Once riding was over, headed home and I got myself ready for some Australian Supercross on MX Sim and had a really good time racing after going to Paula. So since the last episode, not really much has happened. I've been really busy with school, so I haven't been able to play too much sim, I guess. And I raced a couple of the FAM-MX Fall Cup series, so there wasn't anything really exciting going on there. And did a couple fun races, raced the Japan Supercross Invitational in sim. So really, I did a couple things, but I didn't do too great at any of them. I got a 10th at one of the Fall Cup rounds. I missed the main at one of them. The Japan Invitational, I got third, but there really wasn't a huge turnout, and then I missed round 3 of Australian Supercross. Didn't really like the track, didn't want to race it, so probably going to give up on the Australian Championship, but it's coming down to crunch time. We're getting pretty close to A1, and definitely getting some testing done and whatnot. But instead of focusing too much about me on this episode, I wanted to go ahead and branch out and start talking a little bit more about the people that make this game what I think is really what it is today. And that's the various creators in this game, whether it's modelers and skinners or track designers and builders. Those are the people that are constantly putting in work, that they release content to us most of the time for free, and it's awesome content, and it just keeps people coming back and back to the game. So this episode, there'll be a little bit of me riding, but mostly it's going to be about the creators. As we get closer to Supercross season, models and skinners in MX Simulator spend a lot of time creating gears and bikes for their team so that they can represent their sponsors in-game. One of these creators is Tyler Morin and his company, Prospect Designs.
I got started with the idea to make stuff for at first just MX Sim back in 2012. Me and a couple of my friends were sitting on Skype. I got the idea. I decided to grab myself Photoshop and try making a set of sim graphics, and it just kind of took off from there. I love everything about like designing bikes and all that for real life or for sim. For real life, everyone's all about the money, but I'm in it just for the fun and just getting the satisfaction saying, hey, I made this or I made that. It's nothing like I prefer one thing over the other. Like if it involves Photoshop or Illustrator and designing stuff, count me in. To design a bike, it takes a lot of creativity, and sometimes it can tire you out. Like, graphic designers sit behind a computer monitor for hours upon hours just thinking of designs and ways to do things to make them look good. It's not something like, you just click a button and boom, generic shape, triangle, whatever. So you have to have a lot of creativity first, and once you get a design onto the bike, you get the full bike, you logo, number, do everything necessary. You go ahead and open up the correct template. Make sure everything's lined up properly, nothing's going to be upside down or anything like that. From there, you're going to make sure you have all the correct JM files, so when you put it in the game, you don't have your handlebars where your rear fender is. Then you got to name everything accordingly. From there, you make sure you got to have the norm and spec, because without those, your bike looks like it was dipped in butter. The other cool thing about starting off in MX Simulator stuff and translating into real life is I've had the opportunity to work with and also sponsor some of the fastest MX Simulator riders, such as Jeremy Smith. I went to him debuting his real life national career, and I asked him if he needed help with graphics, and he said absolutely. So we started off, and I made him a couple kits and he liked them, so MX Sim has opened doors for me as well as other riders that I can help out and, you know, give a huge discount or like graphics just to help them, you know, save a quick penny to get to the races every week.
Of course, none of the replica racing championships that happen in MX Simulator would be possible without many dedicated hours put in by track creators. Last year, Stephen Barrington built every round except Daytona in the 2015 Moto Option Supercross Championship, but this year, Chris Riesenberg, aka Checkers448, will be stepping back in to help out with the 2016 Moto Option Supercross Championship.
The first thing with building tracks is to determine what you want to build or the style of track you want to build. Whether it's a custom track or a replica takes a completely different direction. On a replica, you set up into it with getting everything scaled correctly, getting a basic height and shape of everything kind of roughed in first, and then the hard part about replicas is really tuning stuff to ride realistic and not allow crazy lines and stuff like that. It's a lot more of an engineer's approach versus an artist's approach, and that's probably what I don't like. I like the creative side a little bit more, but they're both equally challenging. When we go to offer an authentic experience for the realistic Supercross series, authenticity is number one, as well as it's right up there with they have to be raceable. So while we can make a really, really good feeling Supercross track, and maybe it's a little too tight for racing, or maybe it's a little too hard for guys to get around consistently and provide good racing, and at the same point you don't want to make something so open and fast that it doesn't feel like a real Supercross at all. So that's really the first thing that you're looking at, is the balance of those two things. And then from there, that usually determines your scale. And then you just start building, and the big focus for the 2016 season, and it was also a focus last year, which Barrington built most of the tracks, was just consistency. So guys felt like they were going to the same track each week, just like they do in the real Supercross series. Back in the 80s, that didn't exist. They had a different track builder each week. That's changed since, I think since the 90s, Dirtworks has been doing it, and it provides a consistency for the riders. Not every track's exactly the same, but at least you know somewhat what you're going to face when you get on the track. And so that's really important to make it really feel like a series of tracks. So we have the same team working on each of them. The same scaling is going to be used for each of them. That's already been determined. We spent a lot of time pre-production work, just building a bunch of tracks at different scales and saying, this is what works, this is what doesn't. And so now when it's time to actually build them, we already know what we're doing, and it's try to just pump these things out and make them solid.
So today we're just putting in some laps at my house compound in MX Simulator. It's not my real house, but it's a house that I created and put a track on it and everything like that. And Checkers ended up building the Supercross track at my house in this game, so it was pretty cool because it gives me a chance to kind of ride a general idea of what I can expect for Supercross, and it's good practice. And got my new number in, 83, going to be 83 for 2016. So basically just putting in some work right now. right now I feel really good in the game. It's probably about the best I've felt in the game, at least in a long time, if not ever, just because I've been able to put in a lot of good riding, done some good off-season races, and done well in those races. Feeling more and more prepared for Anaheim 1, just kind of itching to get it ready to go, ready to get there now, and just putting in laps, like I said, out here, and it's fun, it's exciting. I'm really enjoying being back so far, and can't wait to see what the 2016 season holds.